There's something about the way the rain hits the glass windows of the CEO's office that makes him think. Not just any thoughts, no. These are dangerous ones. The kind that bring back memories he swore he'd buried long ago. He built his empire from nothing, clawed his way to the top with fists full of ambition and a heart that learned early on not to trust, especially not women. That word alone is enough to twist his lips into a sneer. Women, to him, they're distractions, cone meeknesses dressed in smiles and soft voices. He's seen it all before: love, betrayal, loss, and he made a promise. Never again. But then, there's her. A name he hasn't spoken out loud in years, though it still echoes in his mind like a ghost that won't leave. Kay. She walked out without a goodbye, vanished like smoke, leaving behind only questions and a hole he tried to fill with success, power, and control. 5 years gone by. Time was supposed to heal things, make her less real, less important. But instead, she became something else, entirely a wound that never quite closed. He doesn't believe in fate, doesn't believe in second chances or fairy tales. But life has a cruel sense of humor, because today, for the first time in 5 years, their paths are about to cross again. He doesn't know it yet, but when he does, everything he thought he understood about himself, about her, about love and pain, it all starts to unravel. She walks through the doors of his company like she belongs there, like she never left. Her eyes meet his across the room, and in that moment, time collapses. He can feel it, the same pull, the same ache, the same fire that once burned too bright to last. But this isn't just a reunion. There's something different about her now. Something that tells him she didn't come back by accident. And somewhere deep inside, he knows. This isn't going to end quietly. The office is silent now, except the hum of the air conditioning and the faint tapping of rain against the windows. He stares at her like she's a mirage, something conjured by his tired mind after too many sleepless nights. But she's real. The way she stands, confident, composed, almost daring him to say something, tells him that much. She hasn't come back broken or begging. No. This isn't the girl he once knew. This woman has changed. He remembers the last time they saw each other. It was raining then, too. A storm had rolled in fast, dark clouds swallowing the sky whole. She had stood by the window of their apartment, arms wrapped around herself, eyes distant. He had asked what was wrong. She hadn't answered. Just walked out the door with nothing but a small bag and a look on her face that said everything and nothing all at once. He didn't chase her. Pride wouldn't let him. And maybe, deep down, he thought she'd come back. But she never did. Now here she is, standing in the lobby of his company like it's just another day. Like she hasn't been gone 5 years. Like she hasn't haunted every decision he's made since she left. He watches as she speaks to the receptionist, her voice calm, her smile polite. She looks older, sure, but not just in age. There's something else behind her eyes, something heavier, pain, regret, or maybe even revenge. He leans forward slightly, trying to hear what she's saying. Something about a meeting with him, of course. That explains why she's here. But why now? What could possibly bring her back after all this time? He should send someone else to deal with it. Brush her off, like dust on a suit jacket. Pretend, duh. She doesn't matter. But he can't move. Can't look away. She glances up again, as if sensing his stare, and this time, there's no mistaking the recognition in her eyes. For a second, she hesitates. Then, slowly, deliberately, she walks toward the elevator, toward him. His stomach tightens. He turns and heads back into his office before she can see him watching. He needs control. Needs to be ready. Minutes later, there's a knock on the door. He doesn't answer right away. Just sits there, fingers steepled, heart pounding like a war drum. Another knock. Sharper this time. Impatient. He finally says, "Come in." The door opens. She steps inside. The scent of her perfume hits him first. Floral, familiar. It pulls something loose inside him, something buried so deep he forgot it existed. She closes the door behind her but doesn't sit. Doesn't speak. Just looks at him. Her expression is unreadable. "What are you doing here?" His voice comes out colder than he intended. But he doesn't apologize. He doesn't do apologies. She doesn't flinch. "I'm here for the job interview," she says simply. He blinks. "What? You heard me." She crosses her arms. "You posted an opening. I applied. They called me in." It takes a moment for the words to sink in. She's applying for a job here, in his company, after everything. "That's not possible, Ku," he says, shaking his head. "No one would schedule you without my approval." Her lips curve slightly, not quite a smile. "Guess they didn't know who I was." He narrows his eyes. Or maybe they did. There's silence between them, thick and heavy. Then she adds, "You always said I was good at what I do." Maybe they agreed. He doesn't respond. He's too busy trying to figure out what game she's playing. Because she has to be playing one. She wouldn't just show up after 5 years for a job. Not after the way things ended. Not after the things they said to each other. The promises broken, the trust shattered. "Why now?" he asks finally. She tilts her head slightly. "Does it matter?" "Yes." She sighs and moves closer, stopping just short of his desk. "Maybe I needed a fresh start. Maybe I wanted to see if you were still the same arrogant bastard you used to be." He lets out a dry laugh. "And what did you find?" "I haven't decided yet." Their eyes lock. The tension in the room shifts, becomes something more dangerous, more personal. He wants to hate her for coming back, wants to blame her for walking away, for leaving him alone with all the questions, all the pain. But he can't. Because part of him, the part he tries so hard to keep locked away, still aches for her, still remembers how it felt when she smiled, when she laughed, when she looked at him like he mattered. But he won't let himself forget why she left, why she disappeared without a word, why she never reached out, never explained. If she thinks she can just walk back into his life like nothing happened, she's mistaken. "I don't know what you're hoping to gain from this," he says, standing now. "But I suggest you rethink it. You don't belong here anymore." She holds his gaze. "Funny, that's exactly what you said the night I left." The words hit like a punch to the gut. He remembers that night. How angry he was, how hurt, how helpless, and how she just walked away. He takes a step closer. You left first. And you made it easy, she says quietly. He freezes. What's that supposed to mean? She doesn't answer. Instead, she turns and starts walking toward doorstops, with her hand on the handle. I didn't come here to fight, she says without looking back. I came here because I need answers, and I think you owe me that much. Then she's gone. The door clicks shut behind her. He's alone again. But the silence feels different now. Charged. Filled with unspoken truths and half-formed questions. The elevator doors close behind her. But she doesn't move. Just stands there, staring at the reflection of herself in the metal as it descends. Her breath is steady, but inside, everything is shaking. She knew this would be hard. Knew walking back into his life after 5 years would feel like stepping in to a storm with nothing but a paper umbrella. But she didn't expect this. The way he looked at her, like he hated her and missed her all at once. Like he wanted to slam the door in her face and pull her into his arms at the same time. She exhales slowly, trying to steady herself. She's not here for him, not really, or at least, that's what she keeps telling herself. There's something bigger at play. Something that brought her back to this city, to this company, to him. But how can she explain that, when just being near him makes her forget why she left in the first place? Back in his office, he's pacing now. Frustration rolls off him in waves. He should have ended that meeting faster than it started. Should have sent her away before she had the chance to stir up everything he worked so hard to bury. But he didn't. In now. She's still here. Still in his building. Still in his head. He grabs his phone and dials quickly. Get me HR. Now. Minutes later. The head of human resources is standing in front of him. Sweating under the intensity of his stare. I want to know who scheduled that interview, he says, voice low and sharp. The woman hesitates. It came through the general implication system. No special request. No referral. His jaw tightens. Cax? That's impossible. You're telling me no one flagged her name. She used a different last name. He narrows his eyes. What do you mean, different last name? We only matched her profile after she arrived. It's been 5 years, sir. Systems change. People come and go. He stares at her like she's just handed him a riddle wrapped in a lie. Find out who approved her interview. I want names. She nods quickly and leaves, closing the door behind her. He drops into his chair again, running a hand through his hair. A different last name. Why? Was it intentional? A mistake? Kr. Was she hiding from something or someone? Outside, the rain has picked up. She steps out onto the sidewalk and pulls her coat tighter around her. She needs to get out of here, needs to breathe. But instead of heading toward the street, her feet carry her toward the alley beside the building. She leans against the wall, hidden from view, and closes her eyes. 5 years ago, she promised herself she'd never see him again. 5 years ago, she walked away from everything because staying meant risking more than just her heart. But things changed. Circumstances shifted. And now, she doesn't have the luxury of choice anymore. She feels the weight of the envelope in her bag, the one she hasn't opened yet, the one that holds the truth about why she left, why she couldn't stay, why she had no other option. And if he finds out what's inside, He'll never forgive her. Inside the building, he's still waiting for answers. When they finally come, they don't bring clarity, only more questions. His assistant walks in with a folder, placing it on his desk without a word. "What is this?" he asks. "Everything we could find on her employment history since she left." He opens the folder. Pages filled with job titles, dates, companies, some familiar, some not. Then he sees it. A gap. 2 full years missing. No records. No references. No explanation. He flips through the pages again. "This isn't complete. That's all we could find," his assistant says carefully. "There are inconsistencies, as if parts of her history were erased or protected." He looks up sharply. Protected by whom? No idea. But someone went to great lengths to make sure certain details stayed hidden. His stomach twists. What kind of secrets is she carrying? Across town, she sits in a quiet cafe, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hasn't touched. Across from her, a man watches her closely. Older, dressed in a suit that screams authority. "You shouldn't have come back," he says quietly. She doesn't flinch. "I didn't have a choice." "You always have a choice." Her eyes darken. "Not this time." He sighs, leaning back in his chair. "You think he can help you?" "I think he's the only one who might believe me." He studies her for a long moment. "If he finds out the truth, he won't thank you for it." She meets his gaze. "I don't need his thanks. I need his help." He shakes his head. "Then you'd better hope he still loves you enough to protect you when the time comes." She doesn't respond, just stares down at the table, knowing, deep in her bones, that love might not be enough this time. Back at the office, he's still going through files, digging deeper, uncovering threads that don't quite connect. He finds old messages, ones she never sent. Emails addressed to him that were deleted before delivery. A voicemail recording that cuts off mid-sentence. Someone tried to erase her presence completely. He slams the file shut. Who the hell did this to her? And why? His phone buzzes. A message lights up the screen. "I need to talk to you. Alone." He reads it twice. It's from her. His thumb hovers over the delete button. He should ignore it. Pretend he never saw it. Walk away while he still can. But he doesn't. Instead, he types back, *where and when. The reply comes almost instantly. Midnight. Rooftop of the old warehouse district. Come alone. He stares at the words, pulse ticking faster. That place. Of all places. That place. Because that's where it all began. And maybe, just maybe, that's where it will end. Midnight. The city is quiet. Wrapped in the kind of silence that feels like it's holding its breath. Streetlights flicker every few blocks, casting long shadows across empty sidewalks. Somewhere in the distance, a car engine revs and fades into nothing. But here, in the warehouse district, the world feels frozen. He stands alone at the edge of the rooftop, hands deep in his coat pockets, shoulders stiff against the cold wind slicing through the air. He didn't want to come. Every instinct told him not to. This exact spot tease where everything started, where they first met, hidden away from the noise of the city, where no one else could see them. It was their secret, their escape. until it became something else entirely. Now it just feels like a trap. He checks his watch. She's late. Not by much, but enough to make his pulse kick up. He should have known better than to come here. Should have stayed far away from her, and whatever mess she's dragged back into his life. But he couldn't help himself. There's something about her that still pulls him in, even after all this time. Even after everything. The sound of footsteps behind him makes him turn sharply. She steps out from the stairwell door, wrapped in a dark coat, hair pulled back, face unreadable. She doesn't smile when she sees him, doesn't speak right away, just walks forward until there are only a few feet between them. "You came," she says quietly. "I almost didn't." She nods, like she expected that. I know he studies her closely. There's something different tonight. Not just the way she carries herself, but the way she looks at him as if she's measuring every word before she speaks it. "So what is this?" Key asks, voice edged with impatience. Another mind game. Another disappearing act waiting to happen. Her eyes flicker with something pain, maybe regret, but she doesn't look away. No games. "I wouldn't have asked you here if it wasn't serious." He exhales sharply. "You disappeared for 5 years. You show up again, apply for a job at my company under a fake name, and now you're dragging me back to this place. Tell me what the hell is going on before I walk away and never look back." She takes a slow breath, as if steadying herself. "There's something you need to know." He waits. Seconds tick by. Then minutes. She doesn't speak. "Fine," he mutters, turning to leave. "Carrie, if you're not going to say anything, I was being watched," she blurts out. He stops, turns back slowly. "What?" She swallows hard. "Back then, 5 years ago, I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because I had no choice." His stomach tightens. "That's not an explanation. It's the only one I can give you right now." He stares at her, trying to read past the words, past the fear in her voice. "Who was watching you?" She hesitates. "People who don't forgive easily. People who don't forget." He takes a step closer. "And who exactly are we talking about?" Her jaw. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." He lets out a dry laugh. "Try me." She looks down at the ground, then back up at him. "It started with my last job. I was working for a private firm off the books contracts, high-stakes deals. I didn't ask questions. I did what I was told. But then I found something I wasn't supposed to see." His expression darkens. "What did you find?" She reaches into her bag slowly and pulls out a small envelope, holds it out to him. "This," she says, this is why I left. Why I disappeared. Why I can't stay gone for long." He doesn't take it. "Then open it yourself." "I already did," she whispers. "Once, that was enough." He narrows his eyes. "What's inside?" She hesitates. Proof of corruption. Cover-ups, lies buried so deep most people don't even know they exist. His fingers twitch at his sides. "And what does this have to do with me?" She takes a shaky breath. "Because you're connected to it. Whether you knew it or not." He freezes. "What?" She steps closer, lowering her voice. "Your company isn't as clean as you think. There are people inside, people you trust, who are involved. And if you dig too deep, they'll bury you just like they tried to bury me. His breath catches. For the first time in years, he feels something close to fear. That's why I came back, she continues. Because I needed someone who could fight back. Someone who has the power to expose the truth. And the only person I could think of was you. He stares at her, heart pounding like a war drum. You expect me to believe this. I expect you to decide whether you'd rather live in the dark or finally see the truth. Behind them, the wind howls through the rooftop. Somewhere below, a car door slams. Footsteps echo against concrete. Not hers, not his. They both freeze. She turns toward the stairwell, eyes wide. We're not alone. He follows her gaze. The door creaks open slightly, just enough for a shadow to slip through unnoticed. They found me, she whispers. I shouldn't have brought you here. He grabs her arm. Then let's go. But she shakes her head. No. If we run now, they'll never stop hunting us. He grits his teeth. Then what do we do? She meets his eyes, and in that moment, something shifts between them. No more secrets, no more lies. We face them, she says, together, before he can respond. The door swings open fully. A figure steps onto the rooftop, and then another, and another surrounded. He grips her hand tightly, feeling the weight of everything crashing down around them. This is it. Whatever happens next, it changes everything. The rooftop air turns colder, sharper, like the night itself is holding its breath. The three figures step forward slowly, their silhouettes outlined by the dim flicker of a broken streetlight nearby. He instinctively shifts in front of her, shielding her with his body, even though he knows it won't matter. They're outgunned, outnumbered. She tightens her grip on his hand but doesn't move back. She's not running anymore. One of the figures steps ahead of the others. A man, tall, confident, familiar. His blood runs cold. Hello, Alex, the man says smoothly, voice calm, almost friendly. Long time. Alex narrows his eyes. Who the hell are you? The man smiles. You don't remember me. I'm hurt. He steps into the light. And recognition hits like a punch to the gut. Daniel Reyes. Board member. Investor. Trusted advisor. A man Alex thought was dead. I was supposed to be, Daniel says, reading the shock on his face, but here I am. Alex swallows hard. You vanished 2 years ago. Plane crash. No survivors. Daniel chuckles. That's what they wanted you to believe. Behind them, the other two men shift slightly, adjusting their positions, trapping them. Alex glances at her. Her face is pale, but she doesn't look surprised, just resigned. You knew, he says quietly. She hesitates, then nods once. I suspected. His jaw clenches. And you didn't think to mention this before dragging me into whatever mess you've made for yourself. Her voice is steady. Would you have believed me if I had? He doesn't answer. Daniel takes another step closer. Let's cut through the drama, shall we? You both know why we're here. Alex doesn't move. Try me. Daniel sighs, as if disappointed. You really don't see it, do you? Your company, your empirate, wasn't built on your genius alone. There were people behind the scenes. People who made sure things went your way. Who made sure your competition disappeared before they could challenge you? Dumb. Who made sure no one ever questioned where your funding came from? Alex's stomach twists. What are you talking about? Daniel smirks. Come on, Alex. You can't tell me you never wondered why your biggest rivals suddenly went bankrupt. Why certain government contracts just fell into your lap. That kind of luck doesn't happen by accident. Alex feels the world tilt beneath him. He wants to deny it, wants to say it's a lie, but deep down, he remembers the calls he never asked questions about. The payments that came through without explanation. The names that vanished overnight. He turns to her. Is this true? She doesn't flinch. Yes. His heart pounds. And you knew. I found out after I left, she says. When I started digging into my old firm, I uncovered more than I bargained for, and your name kept coming up. Not just as a beneficiary, but as a target. Daniel claps once, slow and mocking. There it is. Finally catching up, I see. Alex ignores him. Why would they want me? Daniel's smile fades. Because, you became a problem. Too much power, too public, too unpredictable. We needed someone easier to control. Alex takes a step forward. And you killed people to get what you wanted. Daniel shrugs. Business is messy sometimes. Alex's fists tighten. You ruined lives. So did you, Daniel counters smoothly, just without knowing it. Silence stretches between them, thick and suffocating. Then Daniel gestures toward the woman beside him, and then there's her. Always stirring up trouble, even when she knows better. Alex looks at her again. Why did you leave? Her voice is barely above a whisper. Because I found proof of everything. And when I tried to expose it, they threatened me. Said, if I breathed a word, they'd come after you next. His breath catches. They told me you walked away because you didn't love me. I couldn't risk losing you, she says. Not like that. Daniel laughs softly. So noble, so tragic, but none of it matters now. Alex's pulse thrums in his ears. You, still, haven't answered my question. Why are you here tonight? Daniel's expression darkens. Because we gave her a chance to disappear again, quietly, permanently, but instead, she brought you here. And now you know too much. Alex doesn't move. And what exactly are you planning to do about it? Daniel lifts a hand. One of the men behind him steps forward, pulling something from his coat. A gun. Alex's breath hitches. Before anyone can react, she moves fast. With a sharp motion, she yanks something from her bag and slams it against the rooftop floor. A flash of light explodes around them. Smoke fills the air, shouts gunfire, got chaos. Alex grabs her arm and pulls her back, dodging the first shot as bullets ricochet off metal and concrete. Run, she shouts. He doesn't hesitate. They bolt toward the stairwell, footsteps pounding behind them, echoing off the walls. The door slams shut behind them as they race down the narrow staircase, each step shaking under the weight of everything they've just learned. Above. The gunfire stops. Voices rise, then silence. They reach the ground floor, bursting into the alley, lungs burning. We need to go, she gasps. He grabs her wrist. We're not safe yet. No, she agrees. But we have one chance. He stares at her, which is, She meets his eyes. Expose everything before they bury us, along with the truth. He exhales sharply. Then let's make sure they don't get the chance. Behind them, the rooftop door swings open again. Time's up and the real fight has only just begun. The alley behind the warehouse is dark, slick with rain, and filled with the echo of their footsteps. They run, not toward safety, but toward something worse, toward exposure, toward confrontation, toward the only way out they have left. She leads him through narrow streets, past dumpsters and flickering streetlights, until they reach a parked car she must have left there days ago. She tosses him the keys without hesitation. "Drive," she says, sliding into the passenger seat. He doesn't question her. Just starts the engine, peels out into the empty road, tires screeching against wet pavement. Behind them, shadows move, figures in black. The same ones who tried to kill them on that rooftop. Cat. And now they're chasing. They won't stop, he mutters, gripping the steering wheel tighter. No, she agrees. But we don't need them to stop. We just need one shot. He glances at her. At what? At proving the truth before they erase us like we never existed. He wants to ask more, but the sound of gunfire cracks through the night. A bullet shatters the back window, shards of glass exploding inward. He swerves, barely keeping control, as another shot misses by inches. "They're not bluffing," he growls. She pulls out her phone, fingers flying over the screen. We're almost there. Where exactly are we going? To the one place they can't touch us without exposing themselves. His stomach tightens. And where's that? The press conference. His breath catches. You didn't. I did. He slams his hand against the steering wheel. Are you insane? If we show up and say even one word they don't want out, they'll take us both down. She turns to face him. Then we make sure the whole world hears it first. He stares at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, realization dawns. You leaked the files already. Her lips press into a thin line. Not all of them, but enough. His heart pounds. And if no one believes us, they will, she says. Because I made sure this time, there was no way to erase me. Going. They race through the city, pursued by ghosts and killers. Heading toward the only place where truth still has power, the news station hosting the biggest live broadcast of the year. A major tech summit. Investors, politicians, reporters from every corner of the country. And now them. He pulls the car into an alley beside the building, kills the engine. Silence falls between them. This is it, she whispers. He nods. No turning back. They slip inside, through a side entrance, moving fast, avoiding security cameras, following a path she clearly mapped out long before tonight. They reach the upper balcony of the main hall, just as the host steps onto the stage below. The room is packed. Cameras rolling. Microphones live perfect. She reaches into her bag again, and hands him a small device. What's this? He asks. A signal booster, she says. Once you activate it, everything gets transmitted. Proof, audio, documents, everything. He looks at her. Why me? Because they know me. They expect me to fight back. But you, her voice softens. You were their golden boy, their success story. If you turn against them, it won't just be a scandal, it'll be a reckoning. He exhales slowly, then takes the device and presses the button. Nothing happens at first, then the lights flicker. A second later, the massive screens lining the walls begin to change. Files appear, names, transactions, contracts, photos, all tied to Daniel, to the board. Two people sitting in the audience right now. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Shouts erupt, chaos unfolds. From the stage, the host stammers into the microphone, trying to regain control, but it's too late. The truth is out, and then the final blow. A hidden audio file begins, playing Daniel's voice. Clear, cold, confessing everything, the murders, the manipulations, the plan to eliminate Alex. The entire room erupts into pandemonium. Reporters scramble, phones ring, security rushes the stage. Alex stands frozen, staring at the chaos below, the weight of everything crashing down on him. She watches him carefully. It's done. He shakes his head. No, it's just starting. She opens her mouth to respond, but then stops. Something changes. His expression shifts. His eyes narrow. He turns to her slowly. "How did you know where I'd be 5 years ago?" he asks quietly. She blinks. "What? That night, I called you. You said you didn't come because you were being watched." Coat. "But how did you know I'd be at that exact location, at that exact time?" She hesitates. Just a fraction of a second. But it's enough. His jaw tightens. "You weren't just running from them." She doesn't answer. "You were one of them." Silence then. Finally, she speaks. "I wasn't when we met, I swear." His breath catches. "But you became one." She nods slowly. "I had no choice. They found me before I could disappear. Gave me 2 options. Work for them or die." His hands curl into fists. "So everything between us was real," she interrupts fiercely. "Every second of it. That's why I walked away. Because I couldn't let them use you the way they used me." He stares at her, the betrayal cutting deeper than he expected, and now, she meets his gaze. "Now I'm done playing their game." Below, police storm the stage. Daniel is dragged off in handcuffs. Others follow. Some try to flee. None succeed. The truth is out. But for Alex, the hardest part isn't the fall of an empire. It's realizing that the woman he thought he lost might have been the key to it all along. And now, neither of them can go back. The city wakes up to a new kind of chaos. Headlines flash across every screen, from subway stations to office buildings, to the quiet corners of small-town cafes. The fall of a corporate empire has never been so public. Names once untouchable are now under investigation. Deals once whispered behind closed doors are now dissected on live television. And at the center of it, Alex and her. He stands outside the courthouse, surrounded by flashing cameras and reporters shouting questions he barely hears. Pease said his piece, testified, signed statements, done everything they asked, but nothing can erase what he learned or how it changed him. She's not far away, leaning against a lamppost with her coat pulled tight around her. She hasn't spoken to the press. Doesn't plan to. Her name is already out there, tied to both the truth and the lies she once lived. Some people call her a hero, others a traitor. But to Alex, she's something else entirely. A survivor. They walk in silence for a while. The noise of the city fading into the background. The rain has stopped, but the streets still glisten with its memory. You knew this would happen, he wants, finally. She glances at him. Not exactly, but you planned for it. She nods slowly. I had to. If I didn't leave when I did, if I hadn't disappeared, none of this would have come out. He exhales. You could have told. I wanted to. Her voice is soft, almost fragile, Ket. But I also knew that if you heard the whole truth back then, you wouldn't have believed me. And worse, you might have tried to protect me. That would have made you a bigger target than you already were. He stops walking, turns to face her fully. And now, she meets his gaze. Now, we're both free. Or as close to it as we'll ever get. There's a long pause between them, filled with everything they don't say. Eventually, he speaks again. What happens next? She smiles faintly. We start over. Not together. Not like before. But maybe. Somewhere down the line. Tis studies her, trying to read past the words, past the walls she still carries like armor. And where will you go? Somewhere quiet, she says. Someplace where no one knows my name. He nods, understands. They keep walking, eventually, reaching a bench overlooking the river. The water reflects the morning light, shimmering like broken glass. It's peaceful here, despite everything. He sits down. She follows. For a while, neither of them speak. Then he says, I used to think power was the only thing that mattered. That success meant control. That love was just another weakness. She looks at him, and now, he lets out a slow breath. Now I know power doesn't mean anything if it's built on lies. Success means nothing if you lose yourself along the way. And love. He trails off, then looks at her. Love is the only thing worth holding on to even if it hurts. She doesn't look away. It always does. They sit there, side by side, watching the city move forward without them. The world keeps turning. People forget. New scandals rise. Life goes on. But for them, something has shifted. He's no longer the CEO who hated women. No longer the man who buried his pain beneath ambition. He's just Alex now. A man who lost everything and found himself in the process. And she's no longer the woman who vanished. No longer the girl who ran. She's someone stronger now. Someone who fought back and survived. The past won't ever disappear completely. There will always be remnants of what they endured, echoes of the choices they made. But they're not trapped by it anymore. They're free. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough, as the sun climbs higher, casting warmth over the cold metal of the bench. He turns to her one last time. Thank you, he says quietly. She raises an eyebrow. For what? For coming back. For telling the truth. For making me see what really matters. She smiles, not a sad one, not a bitter one, but something softer, something real. You would have figured it out eventually, she says. But, too, I'm glad I got to be the one to remind you. He chuckles. That's generous. She stands, brushing off her coat. I try. He stays seated, watching her for a moment longer, then without looking back, she walks away, not running this time, just going, And he lets her. Because some endings aren't about staying together. They're about learning how to live after everything falls apart. And sometimes, that's the only happy ending you get. Because deep down, he knows she's right. He owes her more than just answers. He owes her an explanation, an apology, a reason. But the truth is, he doesn't have any of those. Not yet. Not anymore. And maybe, just maybe, neither of them is ready for what comes next.